So what is going on, guys? I'm Black Ops Amazing. Welcome back to another video where today we're going to be talking about some potential changes we could be seeing for Treyarch's next Zombies game in 2023, and these are tweets that come from the lead game designer at Treyarch. Someone asked him some information to do with Vanguard and Black Ops Cold War zombies, the way that Easter eggs have changed recently. They've definitely gotten a lot easier compared to how zombies used to be in BO4, 3, 2, 1. I was going to say World at War, but we didn't really have Easter eggs in that, not like we do nowadays anyway. But unless you only started playing zombies during Black Ops Cold War, we all know that Easter eggs, whether it be the main one or side quests, are a lot easier. There seems to be fewer steps, they are less tedious. In general, I would say main Easter eggs are a lot shorter to complete now compared to what they used to be. The boss fights are a lot easier, that's if we actually get one. And to be honest, zombies in general now, even the gameplay, is a lot easier to play than it used to be. Some people like that, some people don't. I suppose it really just depends on how good you are at the game and what you're looking for. Because zombies only has one difficulty, you can't choose between easy or medium difficulty, hard, veteran, unless you were playing BO4. So if you're not too good at zombies, if you struggle to get to those higher rounds, I'm willing to bet many of those same people probably wouldn't have completed Easter eggs before as well, just because they were hard. And so because of all of this, what Treyarch have been trying to do over the past couple of games is just make zombies easier, try and cater it towards a more general audience, people who just want an easy, relaxing game, people who can just get into zombies without having to play every other day to get better at the game. Essentially, they wanted to make Cold War and Vanguard zombies so that everyone was able to complete the Easter eggs in it. I do know quite a lot of the hardcore zombies players didn't really like this change. Personally, from my point of view, I'm not too good at zombies, so the fact that it's got easier now, especially Easter eggs, doesn't really bother me. My problem with it would be sometimes it does mean less content. And sometimes even, I'll admit, again, I'm nowhere near one of the best zombies players, but even I find it a little bit too easy sometimes. If you think about it, even when it first began back in 2008, up until recently, zombies has never really been like any other game. It's always been niche in terms of its difficulty, in terms of a lot of people can't just simply pick up a controller and complete an Easter egg. It was catered more towards a hardcore fanbase, and if you wanted to get into it, more than likely you would have to do a bit of research first, or put some time into it. I do think that was one of the main things that made it unique, that it was kind of like its own thing. It wasn't like any other game where you could just pick up and play. But getting back to what I was saying, so the lead game designer at Treyarch, who is Kevin Drew, he replied to a tweet from someone who essentially said that main quests in zombies should always launch alongside maps. Obviously, that didn't happen in Vanguard. We didn't get a main Easter egg on day one in Duran Fang, whereas previously in every other zombies experience, besides from Outbreak, we've always, or most of the time, gotten the main quest near enough on day one. In some cases, the Easter eggs are locked for a few hours or a day after, so that we get a chance to experience the map first, and everyone is on a level playing field, because we don't all have the same internet speed, we can't all access zombies maps at the same time. But anyway, someone just brought this up on Twitter, saying that main Easter egg quests should unlock alongside maps, and Kevin replied to this by saying, one of the reasons why we did it in Cold War like this was to get time to find and fix stability issues with the map so that they didn't interfere with quest discovery. Millions of players will find things that even the best QA can't. It was largely successful, the quests were more stable. The drawback is that players discovering the map time got separated from quest completion time. It would have added hours more to each one, but I'd rather have stability personally. And that's what I was saying. If you think about how long main Easter eggs used to take to complete, say Revelations, we used to have Easter eggs that took 12 hours a day, whereas now in Cold War, I don't think a main Easter egg has taken more than 4 hours to complete. But a lot of that is because the quests don't release alongside the maps anymore, meaning that we now get an extra day or two, or in Vanguard's case, a few months, to actually figure out the map first, figure out what's a side Easter egg and what isn't, so when the main quest does release, we know the map layout, we know the best tips and tricks, so we don't have to faff around figuring out what's a part of the main quest and what isn't, and also learning the map. He does say that the drawback to this is that it's difficult to compare Easter egg completion times now back to older ones. Again, this is something that doesn't bother me just because completion times of Easter eggs isn't something I care about in zombies. I just like doing the Easter eggs at the end of the day. I'm not bothered about difficulty or comparing times, speedruns, but I know a lot of people are. Someone then replied back to Kevin by saying, is there any chance of increasing difficulty of the quests going forward? Maybe a system where there's an easier, shorter quest for players to unlock something to further the narrative, and another hard one that acts as like an end credit scene. And again, Kevin replied to this by saying, anything is possible. We are very aware the community wants more challenge at high rounds and harder to discover elements like older games. We want to find a way to have that without removing everyone's ability to experience the story. So there we go. It sounds like in Treyarch's next game in 2023, well, what they're trying to do is, because they know the community want more challenges at high rounds and harder to discover elements of Easter eggs like previous games, but they also don't want to take away the fact that it's more accessible now in Cold War and Vanguard compared to what it used to be. So in their next game, they're trying to find the perfect balance between having gameplay and an Easter egg that everyone can get into, enjoy and complete, and also have it cater towards the more hardcore audience as well, who want a challenge and something that takes longer to discover. It definitely doesn't sound like an easy task. I'm willing to bet some people in the comments will be saying, well, what about Vanguard Zombies? It is important to know that Kevin doesn't work on Vanguard Zombies. It is only about, I don't know, half, maybe a quarter of the Treyarch Zombies team that work on Vanguard. The rest of them are working on the next game in 2023. So Kevin, the lead game designer at Treyarch, isn't even working on Vanguard Zombies, which is very hopeful for their next game, but also explains why Vanguard Zombies is, well, shit. But yeah, essentially the whole message is Easter eggs in the future should cater to both the hardcore audience and the newer players, whereas in the past couple of games, I don't think they do, and that's even acknowledged here. And one last thing I wanted to show you from Kevin, which I thought was pretty interesting, and by the way, depending on when I release this video, today is actually the day when DLC, is it 2 or 1? Actually, the first DLC map for Vanguard has released, Terra Meredicta or whatever it's called. You know what, this might be the first time ever since I've started playing zombies that I just don't care. Until they release a round-based zombies map, I have no interest in playing it just because I don't like the gameplay. But back to what I was saying, something else I wanted to show you quickly, which also links into Treyarch's next game. Pretty much, the lead game designer at Treyarch did a poll asking people what their least favourite things in Cold War Zombies was. He said we got around 400 responses combined, so thank you. First up is perks. To no surprise, Tombstone Soda was the least liked perk. Rest in peace, Tombstone. We tried combining Who's Who with you, and it still wasn't enough to keep it relevant with modern game mechanics, so I think we can all safely say that Tombstone won't be returning in future Zombies games. When I first heard it was coming in Cold War, I asked myself, well, why? It was one of the least liked perks in Black Ops 2 Zombies. I never really found it that useful. I guess in Cold War the idea was a little bit better because you could have as many perks as you wanted to, but still, even with that, when I'm playing Cold War Zombies, I rarely ever buy this perk. He also said, next up is field upgrades. Energy Mine 1 with Frostblast on second. It was supposed to be a fun mobile trap, but it ended up not being effective enough compared to the other field upgrades. Again, I agree with this. Energy Mine is probably my least used field upgrade. It didn't feel effective enough, so I doubt we'll see some variant of that return in the future. And finally, we have ammo mods. I was really happy with how even the results were on these. The Palm Burst did edge out here, even though it has sneaky high damage potential. Useful data and feedback all round for the future. And again, I probably agree. The Palm Burst is my least used, although people have got Shatter Blast as their number one. For me, it's between Brain Rot and Deadwire is the best, or actually Crypto Freeze is pretty good as well. So there we go. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. As always, hopefully you've enjoyed today's video. If you have, drop a like rating. Make sure you are subscribed to stay up to date with the latest content on the channel, and as always, I will see you in the next one. Until then, goodbye.